Bad Sobers?
Yeah, week 13 review.
Cool.
1, 2, 3, hey.
Quality.
Hey, Frank.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Commish Show, the Week 13 review. We got Frank on this week. He's got some interesting stats from throughout the season. He's got his laptop filled. What was it, 3 tabs on Excel?
3. Yeah, 3.
Yeah, ours was getting a little confused. But thanks for coming on.
Gotta be thorough.
Of course.
How
Oh,
do you
yeah.
be? How do you
Hell
be?
yeah.
Big fan of the show.
Good, I'm glad. Glad we finally got you on. Pumped for playoffs,
Oh, yeah.
Playoffs.
you know? What? Talking about playoffs? All right, we'll start in the first game. Sean beat me by 1 point. Antonio Brown, 15 targets, 8 catches. One more catch. Sean loses, misses the playoff. It's crazy. Sean goes from making the playoffs from winning by 1 point to a 2 seed.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
There's a little tension on the couch from this game, as you can probably tell at home. It was an interesting one to watch, just as an outsider, especially because Antonio Brown dropped a ball on the last drive, which, as everyone knows, would give in Bryan the win, and RJ would have made the playoffs. So 2 seed from being out of the playoffs for Sean.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, so if Sean would have lost this game, RJ would have made the playoffs. Also, if Frank would have lost his game, RJ would have made the playoffs.
Perfect storm.
If RJ would have won his game, he would have made the playoffs.
Yeah, too.
But we'll move on to the next one. It would have been a good intro if your game was next. But we have Andrew narrowly beating Mannion. Mannion getting a lot of points for once.
Yeah, Mannion's starting to show up even though it's over for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, at
Late
least
start.
he's trying. You got to respect that.
Seriously, he could have packed it in a while ago, dropped all those players.
Yeah, I respect that. Keenan Allen, he's been killing the game these past couple weeks. Big for Andrew. Hopefully he has a slightly down week as I play him coming up in the playoffs.
Keenan Allen, first wide receiver with 10 plus receiving, 10 plus catches, 100 receiving yards, and multiple touchdowns. First one ever to do it in 3 straight games.
He had 40 against me last week. It hurt.
Who is this?
Keenan Allen.
He had 10 catches 3 games in a row?
Yep.
100 yards, touchdown.
And at least 1 touchdown.
Jeez. Hopefully he doesn't do that this week. We'll go to the next one quick. Frank, this was a lot closer than I thought it would be.
Yeah, we had Mixon and Schuster at the end. I was losing by 8 points, thought I had it. 2 players for 8 points should be a no-brainer every single time. Mixon
that's what
gets
it
a
was.
concussion before halftime with the 5.2 points, and Juju Smith-Schuster had, I think, 1 catch at that point. And
Did he get suspended?
Yes, he did get suspended, so that's another thing I'm going to have to deal with. My whole team gets suspended, hence Connor and Cons. You know, you win some, you lose some with that type of drafting mentality. But, you know, it's. I was fortunate that Juju decided he wanted to have a pulse the last 2 drives of the game and catch a couple balls, and I eked it out at the end.
Good, yeah. 3-point win for Frank. And I'm curious, why haven't you been starting Morris?
Well, the previous 2 games, I believe he had under 10 points, and I thought Lewis was going to provide something a little bit better.
Fair enough.
And then Mixon last game had 23 points, so they were finally giving him the ball at the rate that I thought he was going to have it, and then he decides to get hurt. I've had very unlucky situations with who I've decided to play this season.
Definitely. What do you have? 3rd most points in the league?
Second.
We'll talk about that later. Yeah. Move on to the next one.
Tuna.
Alton beating Auto Draft by, what is that, 4 points? 4.1? Yeah.
Yep.
Auto Draft, I think he's playing Armand first game. That should be a good one. Alton, who do you play?
I play Logan.
Alton and Logan, another interesting matchup.
Fuck you, Logan.
And it should be an interesting one. Big week from Alex Smith. Jordan Howard continues to do nothing. Duke Johnson finally has a down game.
Yeah, I
feel like the guy's good for 6 catches a game.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I loved him coming out of Miami, but no one thought he was going to, contribute for the Browns, who have no wins. I mean, how are you going to have a running back who produces the way that Duke Johnson does the entire season? It's unbelievable.
That's true. Kelsey always goes off, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lynch, you think he's back?
No.
Absolutely not. I just think that he was out of weapons this week. He didn't have Cooper, Derek Carr that is. Didn't have Cooper. Didn't have Crabtree because he was suspended.
Yeah.
You have both of them coming back next week. And then they also have the 2 other backs in the backfield they're throwing to. So I think this might just be a one-off against a bad Giants team for Marshawn Lynch, but you never know.
Could be. Well, you know what? He scored an 80-yard touchdown, right? Something crazy like that? He scored. I know he scored a long one.
I wasn't watching the Giant game, and I was boycotting.
I
the
wasn't
Giants.
either, but I think he scored. Do you have any knowledge of this, Tuna?
I do not.
We'll stick with that. It was a long touchdown, I know that. Move to the next one. Armand at 105 this week, beating Tim Barry. Tim Barry's been out of it for a couple weeks now, but Armand, do you think he's showing some weakness? Gronk with 23.7, but he's missing next week.
Yeah, right. Tight ends,
Upset alert for auto draft?
It could be auto
For
drafts.
Armand. Oh, yeah.
We'll look
Auto
at
draft.
we'll look at that a little bit later. But auto draft has had a very solid season. He's been a little unlucky himself, but Armand he could be up for an upset this week, especially with Gronk on.
Yeah.
How much would you love to see an upset? Number 1 seed out.
You love a good Cinderella story.
That would be great.
Yeah,
I'd love it.
definitely.
I'd love to see the number 1 seed get
Someone who
bounced.
didn't even draft their team beat the 1 seed. You don't see that very often.
Right.
Never. Probably I would say rarely. Not
Very
never. You
rarely.
could never
Yeah.
say never.
Very
Never say
rarely.
But Mike Evans, he hasn't done much this year, right? I know you had him.
Yep.
I haven't noticed, when that trade first happened, I was kind of worried. But then, as I've been noticing, Evans hasn't really done anything this
No, and
entire
I think
year.
that stems to the quarterback, who I also had on my team and got rid of. He's just been hurt most of the season, and he hasn't really gotten that rapport with Patrick. He's had a couple of fourth quarters that have kind of saved his stats the last couple of weeks, but on a consistent basis, it just hasn't been there for Mike Evans.
Yeah, definitely.
Overrated.
Julio Jones. Big week last week, 2 catches, 24 yards this week
He
against
got-
Minnesota.
He got shadowed by Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah,
so-
he's good. I forgot about him. Move on to the next one. It's a tough one to talk about, but
good.
15-point win for Logan over RJ, knocking him out of the playoffs.
And
The
his
one
defense was
bright
negative.
spot on your team, Arj, Kamara. The Saints running backs have just been unbelievable, both of them.
Kamara's been better than Mark Ingram in the
But
last 5 weeks.
they've both been unbelievable, but I would say Kamara has been better, yeah.
For fantasy standpoint, yeah, absolutely.
Because he's catching more balls, definitely.
Yeah, he's more of an all-around running back. I'll have to argue with Armand about that later.
Okay.
But yeah, Kamara, he's been the bright spot for the year, and just didn't have production from Matt Ryan, which hasn't been surprising this entire year. It's been really up and down. Little better game from Matt Ryan, and things might have been a little different. My kicker missed a field goal as well. So if Matt Ryan could have been a little better, kicker could have made that, we would have been a little
15
closer.
points, it wasn't.
Matt Ryan usually has 16, 17 point game. That's 10. I think my kicker missed a 40-yarder or so. So we would have
Yeah.
been right in the wheelhouse.
And speaking of kickers, Logan's kicker, I think, has had 17 points.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
4 or 5 times
Yeah.
this
I think
season.
he put up, 27 against me that one time?
Something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
unbelievable.
It's his best player. His
I
kicker
think
is
it is.
truly his best player. I mean, Eric was the one drafting kickers, and
Yeah.
it's the 10th round. It should have been this guy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable how you can find someone at the kicking position to be that consistent and have
Yeah.
that many points every single week.
I agree.
For the Rams, though, nobody's picking the Rams kicker.
Dude, the Rams offense this year.
Yeah, but nobody knew that.
Someone was
draft
hating
time.
hard on Gurley at the draft.
I've continued to hate hard on Gurley.
But how's Gurley been, Frank?
It's the only thing that's keeping me surviving.
Frank, you in the playoffs?
Barely. By one.
Last 5 out of 6
Yeah,
games,
well-
he's put up 17.
Yeah, Frank had to win. Would you win by 4 this week?
At least
4,
7?
yeah.
Yeah, 4.
Exactly.
4 points.
5 of the 6.
Frank's 4 points kicked you out of the playoffs, essentially.
Yeah, I know.
And Sean's 1 point. Or my less 1
Your
point.
less 1
Sean,
point.
no, Sean's 1. Well, my kicker missed a 38-yard field goal. That's pretty unlucky.
NAB dropped the ball on the slant.
All right.
He
Yeah,
should've
well,
caught
that
that.
too. All right, we're going to get into some stats Frank has because they're very interesting. But one of them that RJ has been talking about a lot, even last week, the last couple weeks, was the lucky versus unlucky.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that.
I think you guys definitely are probably the most unlucky.
Yeah, it's.
You would have to think because Frank, yeah, you go.
Yeah. So when you take a look at the stats, the way that you kind of measure lucky versus unlucky is kind of how many points you're scoring against how many wins you're projected to get, the kind of the scenarios and the kind of the things that you're looking for in the matchups. And when you kind of look at everything as a whole, RJ's team it was just an unfortunate bunch of events that happened. First of all, his top 2 draft picks, his top draft pick got hurt in the first game of the season, along with his best wide receiver. So that's not even stats-wise. That's just unlucky
Yeah.
to begin with. The number 1 overall pick getting taken out. Well, then if you look at the stats, he's the highest points for to not make the playoffs. So I think he was, what was he?
He was the 4 seed in the power ranking.
Yeah, he was the 4 seed in the power rankings, and he had the 6
No, you
points
were the
for in the
3
league.
That was a 3.
He was the 3 seed.
That was a 3 seed.
Yeah.
Frank was the 4 seed. That was
And he had the 6 most points for in the league, and the thing that killed him is he had the most points against. And
Out of
he had-
everyone?
Out of everybody in the entire league. He had more points scored against him in the entire league. So, I mean,
Lamont
it's
put up
really hard.
177 last week.
If anybody was going to have a high week, it probably came against me.
Yeah, it was very ungood for RJ. And then he also lost twice when he was in the top 6 of scores. So like whenever you're in the top 6 scores, you think you're going to win because you're better than half the teams in the league. RJ lost twice when that happened, and that kind of kills you at the end of the season.
Yeah,
Definitely,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yep. And then
Good.
Who was the luckiest team? I think we all know.
I think everybody knows.
Give the stats.
So anyone who's been giving Logan some shit the entire season, you have been completely justified.
Thank you.
There is everything points to Logan being the luckiest team in the entire league. He has the least points for in the league by over 100 points. So he's only had 1,250 points scored against him the entire season.
So Eric and Mannion both have more points than Logan?
In terms of points scored against them.
Oh, okay.
Logan's only had
Against.
1,250 scored against him.
Which is
that's
less than
ridiculous.
100 a week
Yeah,
on average.
Exactly. When it's absolutely like that's just a ridiculously low number. You don't even have to score that many points, and you can see that by the fact that Logan's 9th in points for the entire league. So he's 9th for points for, but has the lowest points against. So that just kind of it's just a perfect storm of things that happen. And then he had 3 wins when he was in the bottom 6 of scores in different times across the season.
Wow.
So he scored in the bottom 6 3 times and managed to win those games.
Yeah, that's insane. And I'm looking back at his schedule. He lost to Armand 72.5 to 70.4. And then the next week he lost to Mannion 86.8 to 83.2.
Yeah, so even when he loses, it's
Like
not even
he could
against good
easily had
teams.
2 more wins if he just had 5 more points in those 2 games, and
it's-
he would still be under 90 in both of them.
It's unbelievable. And not to mention the fact that he scored lower than the league average. I think the league average was 110 points per game.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, which is it's a pretty high one, but
Yeah, definitely.
Logan managed to score only 106 points per game.
Beginner's luck. Chalk it up to that.
Yeah, but that's not uncommon because there was 3 teams that were below the average that actually made the playoffs, and the only team that was above the average to not make the playoffs was RJ.
Very interesting.
Wow.
Let's talk about Armand's team because he was the 1 seed, and what do you go 11-2?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Armand's team was definitely on the lucky side as well. The reason why
Shade.
RJ was justified at the beginning of the season by saying that
I think the quote was instead of being 1-4, or 4-1, he should be 1-4.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But then if you look at his first 5 games, he scored in the bottom 6 4 out of those 5 games. So he theoretically should have only won one of those games, and RJ was actually right on. He should have been 1-4 in those first couple games.
Good analysis.
I'm pretty right all the time.
But the
So
reason
not being worried about Logan.
I wasn't worried. It's just that it was unlucky. And who's the number 1
the unluckiest versus the lucky in the last week of the
No,
season.
it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
How does shit turn out? Next year, that's going to be the team name, the unlucky team, instead of the undependables.
Okay.
The thing about Armand's team that makes him not the most lucky team is the fact that his second half of the season was just so much better than everybody else's. He came on extremely strong. He averaged 130 points per game the last 7 weeks of the season, which is 20 points above the league average of 111 points.
Jeez.
It was a 30-point increase from his 100 points per game in the first 6
Are we
games.
projecting him to hit a wall? Is his team going to hit a wall soon, or what?
Well, the stats aren't going to say that.
Does
it?
I mean, you got to think that it's got to come back to reality at some point. I mean, that's a
you go.
huge gap, a 30-point gap. I mean,
Right.
you got 130% of what you were.
Yeah.
I mean,
You're
made
not-
a couple
if you,
trades.
exactly. But if you look at his team, like you're trying to figure out where it's going to go down. It's kind of hard to see, especially when you have people like Mike Evans who has the talent to perform better, and Julio Jones who has the capability of performing better.
50 points last week.
Who
Yeah.
did he play?
Yeah, you.
No kidding. But
We
I
lost
think,
by like 60 though.
Yeah, I got crushed. I think tight end's his weakest point on his team still.
You just got to throw that in there.
Throwing shade when I can.
I mean, you're not. I can't really argue with that. I mean, even his defense, he's got the Vikings defense, which is one of the best in the league.
Yeah. There's
Thank you.
definitely
Wait, hold on. Frank, continue. Yeah, keep looking through the lineup. Tell me what's the weakest point of his team.
Yeah, but
Undependable
he has
Gronk. Yeah, but Gronk's...
Undependable.
Yeah, undependable Gronk. I think I just said that.
Stats.
Go ahead, pull up his stats.
What's undependable? Every once in a while, he has a poor game.
Yeah.
Compared to the rest of his team.
I mean, he scored below 10 points. What is that? 4 games if you count the one he missed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then he's suspended this week. So I mean,
Even week 4, no. He had 12.
maybe I would go with Jarvis Landry just because he's got Jay Cutler throwing to him.
We're looking at positions, not individual people.
The flex position.
The flex
I
position
got
would
you.
be
I got you.
Flex position.
So it really comes
Oh.
There's a great capability for him to keep going where he has been going the second half of the season. There's
I
a
agree.
reason why the second half has been so good for him.
Sure.
But his first couple games were just really bad.
Yeah. All right, here's the one I really want to hear about. Well, next I want to hear about yours, but before that, I want to hear about Sean's. 'Cause
Sean.
Sean, as stated before, went from 1 point from missing to the playoffs to a 2 seed, and he is convinced his team is great.
So Sean, his team is kind of an enigma.
Enigma.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw that word in there.
I like it.
It's because
I
it's
like
just
that.
been so strange the way his season has kind of
Some
Yeah,
people
he was
come
like
together.
5-game winning streak, 6-game losing streak,
He's-
something like that.
Some
He-
people are going to need a
He's had
definition
by
for that.
far. he's had by. He's had by far the worst second half of the season. His
Clearly.
first half compared to his
yeah.
second half, he scored 123 per game. His first half of the season. Second half, he's averaging 97 points per game.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's been very bad for him. And the thing is, though, he's only had the 10th most points against him in the league. It's only Logan has had less, and I think Andrew was the other one who had less.
Oh,
yeah,
Andrew,
Andrew.
Andrew's the other one I want to hear about.
Andrew is the second most last, but only 10 separates those two. So pretty
be
much, yeah. So you have that, but then if the thing that makes it so that he's not lucky is the fact that 9 times this season he was in the top 6 of scorers for the week.
Sean.
Sean was. So if you look at it that way,
Well, he was on a 5-game winning streak, so that's more than half of them right there.
yeah, exactly. But if you count the 4 games where he had a 69, a 58, an 81, and a 76.
Yeah.
And he still managed to have 9 games up in the top 6.
Yeah.
That's a lot of games in the top 6.
Yeah. You're right. All right.
So
So maybe
it's-
you're right.
That's the only thing. If you compare it to the rest of the league, you can't necessarily say it's lucky if he's scoring in the top 6. So
True.
even though he had the least amount of points against and only his points for was just as bad pretty much, he still was able on a per week basis to match what he needed to get. So that's why it's kind of a strange. His
Yeah.
team is just very strange to kind of
I agree.
analyze.
Now, playing him in the first week of the playoff, are you confident about? Like, I feel like our side of the bracket, I think it's me, you, I play Andrew, so it's me, you, Andrew, and Sean. I
Yeah.
think that's
I think that
prime time.
Yeah, I think that we have.
Time.
Prime time.
You guys should walk all over them.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna say I'm gonna walk all over Sean.
Well, no, yeah,
because
of course. You never want to say that because anything can happen. But I feel like of the matchups, I think we
Yeah.
have the more favorable.
Yes, I'm not mad for a 2 seed to have Sean as a 2 seed. I'm not saying his team is weak, but compared to
welcome.
other teams that could be a 2 seed. Like
Yeah.
RJ was almost a 2 seed. I think RJ's team was better than Sean's personally.
Clearly.
Yes, I agree.
Look at the power rankings.
Exactly. The thing is with Sean's team that makes it so dangerous is that if you look at from his receivers down, you don't know what you're gonna get. They could all go off at one time.
that's true.
and
It could be big or it could be small.
Exactly, or you could have Des Bryant putting up a goose egg and Jack Doyle not even showing up to the stadium. You
Yeah.
don't even know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
So I'm Josh Gordon. I mean, the guy was slinging burgers like 3 weeks ago at a
Yeah,
Wendy's. I
for
don't
the
even know
last
what he was
2
doing.
years.
He'll be back doing that soon.
It's possible.
It seems
gonna
like,
happen.
looking at his roster, it seems like he's going back to Dak. Thoughts against the Giants?
Honestly, and I don't want Sean to take this personally, but he will. I think his team's boo-boo.
Well, I'm talking about Dak Prescott. I know what you think. I'm talking about Dak Prescott.
Jackrabbit's out though.
It doesn't.
No.
I don't care. Dak Prescott is not. He's not a. I'm gonna produce points quarterback. He's a game manager,
He's not a Russell Wilson.
and he's not an Alex Smith.
That's true. And it's gonna be outdoors.
Game
against the
manager.
Giants. He's not an outdoor quarterback really.
Yeah.
No, he's got to play
And
in his
cold.
dome in Texas. Yeah, no.
Still doesn't have a running game.
Dak is
How's the health of the offensive line? Tyron Smith still hurt?
He's
No,
iffy.
he's playing.
Yeah, but he's iffy.
I hope so because
They're
I have
not the
Alvin
same.
Morris playing, so I hope that
They're not the same as they were
How is Dak Prescott the number 11 quarterback? Can someone explain it to me?
because the Giants suck. I don't know. I think
No,
he
that's for
should-
the whole
No, that's for
season.
the whole season. I think earlier in the year he was going off.
I think, yeah. There you
Yeah,
go.
that explains
First 5
it.
weeks.
Yeah.
Even
He
week
went
7.
22,
We had
22,
30.
30, 30. Yeah, that explains
Okay,
it
yeah.
right there.
I think he should start Case Keenum. Big fan of Case Keenum.
I agree.
You ride the hot hand, especially
agree.
going into
Have
the playoffs.
to.
You got to
Yeah,
ride the hot hand.
You got to. If you want
Yeah.
to win, you got to ride.
If I had Case Keenum, I'd start him, but I have Jared Goff. All right. So
You should have
Jared
picked him
Goff.
up. He was there.
he
I
was
know,
hot.
but I made the trade. I wanted to stick to my trade, and
Fair enough.
It's-
And you know what? I love that Minnesota. They want to bench Keenum so bad for Bridgewater, but Keenum is just balling
He
out
won't
this
have it.
year.
He
It's
won't have it.
awesome.
Too good.
I love it.
It is what it is.
Next team. Who's next?
so
It's up to you, Frank. I don't care.
let me see. We can talk about auto draft.
Yeah, that's who I was just thinking
Yeah.
of.
So let's talk about auto draft. So it's kind of weird that auto draft has been doing so well because it kind of hurts. The thing I love most about fantasy is that you get to put how you feel about the game into
Yeah.
it. You got to pick your players. You think, kind of analyze matchups. Auto draft didn't do any of that.
He got everyone we didn't want.
Exactly. He got
essentially.
everyone he didn't want, and he ended up with one of the better teams in the league, even though it might not be in terms of playoff positioning. I mean, he scored the third most points for in the entire league.
Wow.
So,
Jeez.
and he had the second most points against.
He's got MVP.
So it's not even like he
votes.
got lucky to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
He had everything stacked against him. Didn't pick his team. Had the second most points against him in the entire league.
Yeah.
He just was consistent with his team. I don't think he had a lot of injuries, which I think probably helped.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's definitely big.
Because whenever you don't have to worry about anything like that, but then picking up Jamison Crowder, so I guess he has been looking at his team. I mean, I guess we
Yeah,
can confirm
he
that.
does.
Yes, I have noticed on a week-to-week basis of doing this show that he changes
Yeah.
the team a little
Jamison
bit.
Crowder, like that's a low key good pickup
Yeah,
right there. I mean,
definitely.
that's really good. But yeah, like his team has performed pretty well and should probably have performed better. And it actually got better as the season went on. His team got better in the second half. Like he scored more points for in the second half, but
Okay.
he lost 5 out of the last 6 games. So his team got better and he lost 5 out of his last 6 games.
Wow.
So I mean that just kind of goes to show you what that
Tough
points
matchups,
against.
yeah.
And most of those points against came in the second half.
Definitely, yeah.
So he could have very easily have been out of the playoffs himself. He also had 3 wins when he was in the bottom 6,
Wow.
but had 4 losses when he was in the top 6.
Wow.
Okay.
So
Evens out almost.
it evens out, and it's
Yeah.
also bizarre.
Yeah.
Like
that's
how-
crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like he wants to be bad. Like he wants his team to perform badly.
Yeah.
But
And then he wins more.
exactly. So that one is a very strange one as well.
Does he know we call him auto draft?
No, he has no idea.
Oh, all right.
Sorry.
Well, if I ever meet him, I'll probably just say, "What's up, auto draft?"
I mean,
I probably won't ever
the
meet him.
fantasy
Every
season's
week,
almost over.
every week we call for him, but you never know. How about who haven't we done yet?
Can I throw in the bottom 3 as like one group?
Yes.
So-
Oh yeah. So what is that? Tim Barry, Mannion.
Yep, Tim
and-
Barry, Rick, and Mannion.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
So those 3, every way you look at it, every statistical aspect you look at it, they should be in that exact order in that bottom 3. So that kind of worked out statistically of
Okay.
them being in the bottom 3. Mannion's team is just bad. Like it's very, very bad.
Yeah, he had some injury issues.
He didn't score in the top 6 one time this season. Theoretically, he should have 13 losses and not win a game the entire season.
statistically saying he should have
Yeah. that's
13.
some-
Yes.
What does he have? 2 wins?
He actually won. So he won 2 games when he was in the bottom 6 of scorers.
Who did he beat? Let's look that up.
Did he beat Andrew?
Well, he beat Logan one week because we just spoke about it.
Everybody beat Logan at least once.
I'll pull it up.
Andrew had a lost one.
That's crazy. To be in the bottom 6 of scoring every single
single
week. That's like tough to do. What about Rick? Was Rick?
No, Rick's
Rick?
up there.
Well, yeah, Rick had a couple good games.
Rick's record
Rick
is
almost
exactly reflects what he did. He 3 games this season. He was in the top 6. All 10 other ones, he was in the
Okay.
bottom 6. So it actually kind of statistically, Rick's the closest to what he should have been for the entire season.
What about Tim Barry?
Oh, Tim Barry?
Because I feel like the first few weeks he did well, and then once he lost Odell, it kind of just fell off.
yeah, he was in the bottom 6 for the past 5 weeks. So his team really did fall off at the end there.
Yeah.
In terms of being, he was the second worst over the second half of the season. Scored 91 points a game the last couple
Yeah.
weeks of the season.
It's rough.
Sounds about right, though.
He's got a great beard though.
He does. He
Take
does.
that moral victory.
And remember,
He
Rick,
knows.
do not take kickers in the 10th round or whatever you do.
Yeah.
Like, just knock that off and try to draft people who aren't retired.
It was the 10th round.
Was the
yeah.
10th round?
Well, the thing is, he gave up like the last 3 rounds, and if you look at the last 3 rounds, there were some really
A
good
lot
picks.
of good players.
Kamara clear.
Dallin, another guy. On your
People
team.
who weren't even drafted. I don't think Brait was drafted. Tight
Yeah,
end, he could have been put
yeah.
in there.
I mean,
Yeah, just don't pack it in. You
Yeah.
never know what you're gonna get.
And he definitely packed it in picking,
Oh.
what do you have, Bolden, Fitzpatrick, and like the Jets defense?
Yeah.
I think those were his 3 last picks.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely poor. But, you know, what do you do?
All right, who else do we have?
Mannion beat. He beat Rick. Oh, no, Rick beat Mannion. I'm on the wrong team. He beat Logan,
Quality.
and he beat Andrew back to back.
Nice.
Wow, win streak.
He was hot.
Yeah, he was on a
He
2
scored
win streak.
83 points in one. No, he
Yeah.
scored 86 points and 87 points
86
in
and
those 2 wins.
87.
Wow.
What was his average of points? Very
For
curious
the
about
entire
that.
season?
Yeah, it had to be low.
So, for Mannion, where is it? 92 points a game.
Oh my god, that has to be the lowest, right?
Oh, yeah, by far. That's
Okay.
that's
It's unbelievable.
17 points per game lower than the league average.
Jeez, Mannion, step it up next year, bro.
Yeah, that's just unacceptable. I'm sorry.
We haven't done me, and I think you, right?
Yeah, so
Either one of those two. I don't care.
I'll just throw mine in first real quick. So
Perfect.
mine was pretty unlucky. I mean, I had
definitely.
I had the second points for in the league. I'm not trying to sound biased or anything by saying I'm unlucky, but I had the second most points
you were
for in the
unlucky.
league. But I had, I think, the third most points again. So me and Auto Draft were very similar, just kind of switched in both of those 2 categories. But yeah, I had some unluckiness with my bench. Not my bench, my team that you can't really be measured. Got Winston trying to eat W's and getting hurt out there. So I had to get rid of him. Mike Evans forgot how to play football. Zeke. Yeah. I thought I had a good pick there for the first couple weeks of
Yeah.
the season.
Caught up to him.
Yep, caught up to him being a terrible person.
Your whole team's a bunch
Yeah.
of
My whole
terrible
team is
people.
terrible people, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
if they play football, then this isn't like
I mean,
Yeah,
this isn't legal league over here.
that's not wrong.
it turned out
The
to be.
character
It did.
leak.
And the fact that I also don't know how to put a tight end in that scores me any points.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that's
Yeah, that I would say quarterback and tight end definitely hurt you a little bit. That was your crutch.
yeah. I mean, it's been just unlucky in those 2 things, but also I got to be better when it comes to trading away for Jason Witten, Chris Thompson, who was one of the better players until he broke his leg, and then Logan
Yep.
used him to beat me. So
Yeah, I agree.
that was very very ungood for me.
Yeah, you went on a long losing streak.
Yeah, I lost 5 of my last 6 games.
But like
starting
you
with
lost,
my loss to Alton.
yeah, you
Alton's
lost to all
was my
playoff
first
teams
one.
though.
Were they really?
Alton, me, Armand, Logan, and Andrew.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's unlucky just having all those stacked together.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of that. I also lost to Logan when Zach Ertz fumbled the football, but they don't count fumbles on 2-point conversions. So I would
Did
have
not
won that
see
game.
that, but that's pretty crazy. That was a tight game.
It was. And
Definitely a tight game.
that's one where Jason Witten caught 1 ball for 7 yards. And I would have won if he would have just caught 1 more
That's
football.
unlike Jason.
I know. But he just blocks like a fucking animal.
Yeah.
Beast, bro.
Yes. He started off the year unbelievable. That's
He did.
why you
That's
traded
why I
for
traded
him.
for
Yeah.
him. Because Hunter
he-
Henry was non-existent, and I
Yeah.
needed Jason Witten. And now they switch off
And it
every
was just a
week.
coin flip. Yeah.
It's pretty much what it's been. My Ravens defense is probably one of the best players for my team.
Yeah.
Yeah, who
Surprisingly.
saw that coming?
No, no
me.
one did. They shut out. They've had 3 shutouts this year. Like the last time that's been done, I think was like 2002 or something like that.
Well,
Probably by the Ravens.
can we do
Probably.
some predictions here?
Hold on, I want to hear about my team. That's the last one. And then we'll
And
do predictions.
Alton
We have.
has-
All right, yeah, we'll go to
Alton.
Alton's. My bad.
Alton had the second best team in the second half of the season. So starting with his win against me, where he scored I think like 160 something points or something like that.
I remember that.
When and Deshaun Watson even got hurt, so he lost Deshaun Watson that game, and DeAndre
Oh, yeah,
Hopkins has
that's
still
what did it for him.
continued
Yeah.
to go off. He had a rough first 3 weeks. They weren't very good.
You started 0-3, right? I remember that.
He scored 92, 100, and 94 his first 3 weeks. And then he won 7 of his last 10 games. So, I mean, his
done.
team definitely improved.
Oh, yeah.
It definitely got better, and he's kind of coming in hot to the end of the season. It's looking good for him.
It's a good time to be hot.
He also-
Make the playoffs.
Playing Logan, that's a big one.
He also
Not really.
never won a game when he was in the bottom 6 of point scorers, which besides the non-playoff teams, I think he's the only person that didn't do it. So it's a win that he didn't have that other people didn't have. And then he was the top scorer for 3 weeks, but he also had the lowest score 2 of the weeks.
Okay,
So he's
Gotcha.
had a very boomer bust type of team.
sure,
Yeah. That'll be a good matchup against Logan.
sure.
And then finally we have Bryan's team. Bryan's team is statistically the best team in the league. It's just kind of what it comes down to.
This shit's not rigged or anything.
He's top. He
Wow.
Collusion.
It's unbelievable.
I'm sitting on the guy's couch. And
Yeah, really.
I'm pretty sure I said it, and I knew I was sitting on this couch.
Terrible.
Anyway, so Bryan was top in points for. He was consistent the entire season. He didn't really kind of variate from there.
Consistent.
He's like Seattle.
Consistent.
What?
Yeah, well, I have like half of Seattle's team.
And then, so this past week, he was in the top 6 of scorers every single week.
Oh, I wasn't when? This week?
This week, and if you would have beat Sean with that 1 point, then you would have been for every single week in the top 6.
Consistent. Except for when it counts. For others.
Win your own game. We don't have to worry about these things. Unbelievable.
The only thing that was kind of weird is that you were only the top scorer 1 week.
Really?
Yeah, only 1 week. And if there was one negative that you could kind of put on your entire team, it would be that you were 8th in points against.
Okay.
So
You don't
you didn't
control
have a lot of
that.
points scored against you, but you were also one of the tops in points for. You were the top in point for. So I mean
take
that
that.
more than makes up for having the 8 points of lead.
Yeah,
Wouldn't have mattered either
definitely.
way. So
I like that.
statistically, you have the best team. Congratulations.
We'll see if I make it to the end. We will go to
Predictions?
yeah, speaking of going to the end, predictions, auto draft against Armand.
I'm going to take the upset.
Auto draft.
I'm going up. Auto draft all day.
Close line, 4-point line.
Yeah.
I'm going to take auto draft. What about you? What do you got? All right, you think
Frank,
about-
what do you got? I don't know.
Yeah, you're thinking too much. Just say it.
I'm going Armand.
I'm gonna go with auto draft. I'm just looking at
Let's go.
the only thing that gives me hesitation is Frank Gore.
Bullshit. He's from the U.
I agree.
I love the
Yeah.
U. I love Frank
like
Gore,
maybe
but
30 years ago.
it's an Indianapolis team that's probably who they playing. Who's Indianapolis? playing?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. So they might not be behind this game, but if they do end up being behind, Frank Gore is not going to catch out of the backfield. It's going to be Marlon Mack.
I
But
agree.
It's in Buffalo. It's going to be cold. Possible snow.
It's true, and they're also going to have Nathan Peterman out there
Oh,
passing the
that's
ball, so
true.
that's true.
He's playing?
He's playing.
Oh.
Tyrod Taylor's hurt, so Frank Gore could be a good call. Rudolph, he's been good this.
want
He's been
Flip.
solid this season.
You can.
Can you go down to his bench? I want to
Go
see.
ahead and say it.
It's tough. I don't
Cam
wanna say
Newton
it.
against Minnesota. Yeah, you can't do that. Justin. Oh, interesting
Armand's-
having Tucker on the. I guess because he's playing in Pittsburgh, so I mean that would make sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but Seattle. I
It's in
don't know.
Jacksonville, though. Might be a little better. weather.
Yeah, better kick. That's why.
Yeah, so this is-
personally, I like to get indoor kickers.
Sure.
I think this is Auto Draft's best team that he could put on in the starting lineup. Looking at his bench, for Armand, Alshon Jeffrey. Can he sneak Sterling Shepard or Alshon Jeffrey into
No.
anywhere?
Julio
No.
Evans.
His
and
No,
his
he can't. Yeah,
receivers
his
are
receivers are
absolutely
stacked.
stacked.
So if he's going to change anyone, I mean, he can't really change Hooper because there's no tight ends left in the league. Trust me, I know there's no tight ends left in the league. But yeah, I mean that's probably Armand's best team too. So I mean we have a pretty close matchup, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's gonna be any changes in these two. And I think it's gonna come down to how Big Ben plays against the Ravens defense, which
Yeah.
I personally hope is not well because
Yeah.
I have the Ravens defense. I'm just
Sure.
gonna ride with them.
Go to the next one. We have Logan and Alton.
I'm taking Alton.
Luck has to end soon.
Thank you.
Like Logan can't possibly continue having this lucky streak against someone who's one of the hottest teams in the entire league over the second half of the season.
The hot tuna.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going with Alton.
Is he going to play Matt Prater instead of having him on his bench? Because he took him from me for some reason.
Why? Matt Bryan's playing in a dome.
Consensus?
He's playing in a dome.
Consensus says Alton.
Alton all day.
Next,
Yeah, Alton.
me and Andrew. I think it's gonna be close. Honestly,
Toby's on a 5-game win streak.
His
Top.
quarterback matchups even. Running backs, you probably give the edge to Andrew.
yeah,
if
I
you
don't
look
like
at
my
him.
running backs at all.
Kareem
Although
Hunt has
Drake,
just cooled down.
Drake's
Drake
been killing it.
He's made up for what Kareem Hunt has lost over
Yes,
the course
definitely.
of the season. Receivers, you have the edge in that. It's not
Barely.
as
Barely.
far. Yeah, it depends on how Marvin Jones is going to play.
yes, and
Um,
Keenan Allen.
And Keenan Allen.
He's had some poor games.
He's had 2 40-point games, though. That's kind of saved his stats for the entire season. But like
Yes.
you said, before that, he's kind of been sticking to the 10,
Definitely.
11-point range.
Yeah.
And then Kenny Stills against Isaiah Crowell. That's a toss-up I've ever seen one in my entire life.
Yeah, he beats me in tight end
Well,
too.
Kenny Stills is going to get covered by Gilmore or Malcolm Butler, and then
But if you're throwing the entire game, eventually one might
Yeah,
get thrown
someone's
to
got to
you.
catch the ball.
Jarvis Landry
That's true.
catches everything.
That's true.
Yeah, but
But
were they going
you-
to
I'm just talking
40
in
times?
terms of volume. The volume is gonna be so high because the Patriots are gonna be beating the crap out of the Dolphins anyway. So if you look at it from just a sheer volume perspective,
Somebody
Yeah.
should go get the other running back in Miami.
Who's winning?
Yeah? No.
Oh, who's winning that? I'm
no.
gonna say
Williams
Bryan.
Williams got hurt.
Oh, did he?
That's my app crashes.
That's terrible.
Yeah, he's out. I'm pretty sure he's out for the next couple weeks.
All right. And then the next matchup is
Frank and Sean. Who do you got?
I'm taking Frank.
I would have to agree with Frank as well. Hold on, let me pull him up. Frank, what do you think?
so obviously I'm hoping to take home the win. It's gonna be. It's just Sean's team is just boom or bust at this point. Like you don't know. Like Devontae Adams, you have who's Huntley.
Huntley, yeah.
He had 84 passing yards last week, and they all went to Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams
So-
is pretty much coin flip this entire year. Des Bryant, I don't think he's as good as everyone thinks he is. Never have.
No.
The last 2 weeks, I think, have been his best weeks, but before that, he's been invisible.
He's
Yeah.
past his prime.
Starting Josh Gordon,
That's
that's another question. One. See, he could have like 150 or he could have
70.
60.
Like,
yeah.
It's Josh Gordon is the second week back, like we mentioned before. You don't know what you're gonna get from him,
Anything can
especially
happen.
with Kaiser, who is the worst quarterback in the entire league. Throwing
Yeah.
to him, like you don't know what's gonna happen. Kaiser could just keep throwing him to the dirt, and Josh Gordon might not even see the ball.
That's
Yeah.
true. You're not wrong.
It's going to be an interesting.
Then for
week.
my team, you have Hunter Henry, who just decides he wants to go away for some weeks and just hang out on the sideline.
Yeah, the tight end is tough on your team. Although, being Giants fans, we know what Witten does to us.
Yeah, you should play Witten. He's probably gonna ruin us
He always does.
per the usual.
And then at least I could steal some points from Dak up there. If he throws touchdowns to Jason Witten, at least I get those points.
Yeah.
But I need him to if I have Jason Witten playing.
He'll throw like
Whew.
a couple first downs out. Come on, he's a game manager.
Goodwin, huh?
He last week he had 17 points. Jimmy Garoppolo's the
Oh, you know what?
quarterback now.
Yeah, I respect
Is
that.
that Marquise
Garoppolo.
Goodwin?
Jimmy Garoppolo threw for 300 yards last week.
Marquise Goodwin?
Yeah,
He's still in the NFL? Hey, good for him.
I thought he was like 27 years old.
I don't know, man. He's a world-class sprinter.
He is. It's accurate.
Is he?
Yeah,
I'd love to see him
He was on
against-
the Bills. And then he
See
came
him
over.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that
and
guy.
Tyreek Hill go 40 yards real quick. That'd be interesting.
That'd be awesome.
This is.
Tyreek Hill saved me last week. He had 36 points last week.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
The Jets.
He could
the
do
Jets
that,
have to.
though. He could do that.
He can,
Like,
but then he
what was that against the Cowboys where he had that one like screen that he scored
Yeah.
to a touchdown?
Yeah, it was like an 80-yard screen at the end of the half. They were just trying to get close.
That was against me.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. Unbelievable. All right. Well, it's gonna be a good playoff run.
Enjoy your playoffs.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
the other bracket.
I'll be.
We don't need to worry about the
I'll
other
be at home.
bracket.
I'll
All
be-
right. Hold on. RJ and Tim Barry. RJ.
I'm gonna take the consolation ladder.
Do it.
Yeah. I mean.
You gotta do it. There's
My
no-
team's built for the playoffs. I've been saying
It
this
is.
for weeks.
And if you match it up points for against everybody else, you could see where you could have been.
Yeah, I'll just go fuck myself.
The stats say so. We got
Yeah,
the
I
stat
guess.
man on today.
Yeah. Thanks, Frank.
Thanks for coming, Frank.
No problem. Happy to be here.
We'll see you next week, Frank. You're welcome back anytime.
I'll come.
Maybe
I'll
if
be there.
maybe if
Hopefully
we
I'm
both
still
win. Maybe next week we both win.
We'll face off against each other.
Yeah.
Good luck.
You're invited to Arch. See you next week.
I know sometimes it gets there, but I don't wanna
Sorry.
escape. Feels like we're
Fuck you,
falling
Logan.
for